Hello, this is an introduction to Virtual Edge, our applicant tracking system. This session will cover logging in for the first time, setting preferences, basic navigation, and searching for candidates. If you don't already have login information, contact me at vehelpdesk@review.com and I'll be happy to set up an account for you. Once you have an account, navigate to www.virtualedge.com and log into the system. Virtual Edge is split into two sections, High Volume and Professional. High Volume is used for hiring teachers, proctors, and campus reps, while Professional is used for hiring office positions from administrative assistants to territory managers to executive directors and so on. It is easy to quickly tell which section you are in by looking at the color of the border. Pink is High Volume and blue is Professional. To set your default home page, first we want to go to High Volume, so we'll go up here to Products and select High Volume. And then we'll want to go to Preferences. So up in the upper right hand corner, we'll select Preferences and then Settings. And then we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. And from the General section, we'll select High Volume as the product landing page. The home page you can play around with, but I suggest starting with Pipeline. And then your default location. So in this case, we shall pick, let's try Boston. And then you can hit Save down at the bottom, and then close that window. So it may or may not, if you just set your preferences, take you right away to your home page, but you can click in the upper left-hand corner, Home, and it'll always take you to the right place. Okay, so in the upper right-hand corner is a search box with a drop-down menu next to it to specify what you're looking for, either a candidate or for a requisition. This is a great way to look for someone if you know their name. You can enter their last name, comma, first name, or just their first name or just their last name. You can even enter their email address and it will find them by that. If you want to look for a requisition instead, click on the drop-down menu selection over here and select Requisition Search. And then if you type in the name or the number of a requisition, it'll find that instead. So once you've found someone, hopefully the person you've been looking for, you can mouse over their name for some basic information, or you can click on their name and it'll bring up their full profile. The top of their profile is going to show basic contact information, which is helpful if you are trying to reach them to schedule an interview or an audition. If you scroll down through their profile, it's going to show more information about where they live, their educational history, their major, and so on, including test scores if they've entered them. At the very bottom is going to show their resume. Now this is the resume that they've entered, or that the system has parsed for them. So when they first apply, they can either upload a document or they can rely on the system to go through their resume and insert text. What this does, unfortunately, is it ruins any formatting they might have. So it's always helpful if they can upload the document as well so you can see the nice formatting that they've done. Now at the very, very bottom is assessment results. So they have taken an SAT instructor assessment. The EV refers to evergreen. Most of our high volume requisitions are considered evergreen, which means they never really close. The number of openings just goes up and down as you fill positions. So what this says is that this person has passed an SAT instructor assessment, which is basically just a very simple quiz as they're applying to the position that tells you if they are qualified in the most basic sense. So an SAT instructor requisition, or rather assessment, well, we can click on it to see what it asks them. It asks them why you're interested in becoming an instructor. Please describe any prior teaching experience, skills, any test scores that they have, And then these are the three big ones, the ones that are in bold. Do you possess the minimum qualifications for this position? Are you available to teach on weekdays? And are you at least 16 years of age? If they answer no to any one of those three that are in bold, they'll fail the assessment and they won't show up attached to one of your requisitions. They will still be in the system, and if it was a question that they answered incorrectly, then you can go back and you can actually clear that assessment and let them take it again. The way you would do that is you'd go back to their profile, scroll down again to the assessment line, and click this alarm clock, which would expire the assessment or delete it so they can try again. Another way of finding candidates is to go over here into the History tab on the left side, and this will bring up the last 15 candidates you've looked at, and if you go down and click on the requisition bar, it'll show you the last 15 requisitions you've looked at. It's a very helpful way if you're just going back and forth to go back to your most recent history. Also from your home page, if you click on Advanced Search over here on the upper left, this will allow you to do a search with additional filters. So you can certainly play around with this a lot. Down at the bottom of the first section are keyword search and conceptual search phrase. And you can click on these blue question marks to get much more detailed explanations of these. But these are really, really great ways of finding specific things in a whole bunch of resumes if you're looking. Okay, now we'll go back to Pipeline because we made that our home page. And what this is going to show you, let's see, it's not loading correctly. Okay, here we go. So if you group by position, this is going to show you the names of all of your open recs. Now we're looking in Boston, and where they are sitting at the moment in the interview or application process. So if you mouse over the column headings, it'll show you what these mean. BC is being considered, IP is interview in progress, offer extended, offer accepted, and so on. These folks who are in the pool mean that they've applied to a position that wasn't currently taking applications. So it may be on hold for some reason, it may not have any openings left, and we can talk about how to increase the number of vacancies fairly easily. In fact, we can do that right now. If we group instead by requisition instead of position and do another search, this is going to show you how many vacancies are on each one of these openings, or rather positions. So if you click on the number 1 here, you can add the number of openings that you want and hit save, and it'll automatically update that. There you go, 25. So that's much better. If you go down to the last opening and you're trying to hire someone, it'll ask you to disposition your candidates, and that means that you're trying to fill the last possible opening. So the system wants you to do something with the other candidates who are in progress. And unless you really are done, you're never going to hire for that requisition again, what you want to do is go in, group by requisition, change the number of vacancies so you have more openings to play with. We'll go back to position and hit search. And this again is going to show you the names of your recs and the candidates in progress. So if you wanted to see those people, you would click on the number 5, and it'll bring up a list of those 5 people who are in progress being considered for that particular requisition. Okay, we have covered basic navigation and searching. Please contact me at vehelpdesk@review.com if you have any questions about what this training has covered.